rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
Yeah, buddy, what a do? Knicks Morning Brew coming to you Wednesday live from Tampa. I'm rocking with my boy Phil, all caps. We got Eddie Presti in the building. Fellas, we took an L, a 116-100 loss. Wasn't bueno. I know we'll jump into it. I see people are loading up in the chat, but I got my energy. I'm excited. Eddie, how you feeling, bro?
Man, listen, it was great to get together with you guys last night. That made a horrible loss feel fun, you know.
Facts.
A lot of fun, you know, hanging out with you guys, linking up. But yeah, man, it was a bad loss. But again, we didn't have anybody. I mean, no Brunson, no Randle, no OG, no Mitch. It's at the point now, like, yo, when are we gonna get some help, fellas? When are we gonna get some help? So that's where I'm at right now, you know.
Yeah. Phil, how you feeling, bro?
Yeah, you know, like last night, like Eddie said, you know, it was very similar to take my glasses off, it's shining. It was very similar to when we were at the watch party. You know, it's one of those things where good company can kind of overshadow and eclipse something that was painful to watch, which was last night. You know, there's just certain things that we're going to have to talk about. But it was a little bit rough. It was a little bit rough seeing some of the decisions that were made, seeing how some of these people performed, but also, you know, having to have realistic expectations of what we're freaking dealing with right now. You know, like at the end of the day, we can't go too crazy. You know, we played a Hawks healthy team aside from Trae Young. And if you look at our lineup, the only two starters we really had were a exhausted Dante DiVincenzo and an iHeart that just came back from, you know, injury that's still trying to get everything back together. And so 3 of our starters are gone versus the team that's almost fully healthy, minus Trae Young. But you still got guys like DeJounte Murray, who, you know, is still elite, you know. So we did what we could against them, so I don't want to jump out of the train too much, but there are some concerns. But before we do that, I do want to say happy birthday to number 3, the glue guy himself, Josh Hart. And that's a perfect segue to say, if you have not yet, pick up your glue guy merch. Like, I'm not going to lie, I did pretty freaking good on this one. All right. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen
Phil is so humble. Eddie, Phil is so humble.
No. Here's the thing. I've seen some of the merch that people wear for the Knicks. All right. And I'm just like, okay, come on. Like, how did that even make it onto an actual like shirt or design? So yes, I'm going to boost myself a little bit. So I posted the link. We have shirts, we have crew necks, we have hoodies, but Josh Hart is our glue guy, and he continues to show that over and over and over again. So show your support for his birthday and go pick up one of those. And we're going to talk about a giveaway a little bit later as well.
Yeah, $24.99. You can't go wrong with that T-shirt. It's got it's got a front and it's got a back. Go ahead, Chad. Come on, man. Pick us up.
Some of these shirts I see are like $50 to $60 and it's an iron-on, and I'm like, yo, we're actually having them professionally made and we're not trying to make a ton of money on this. We're just trying to stay afloat and put out good products. So yes, head on over, pick one of those up. We appreciate you.
Well, what I'll do is, that seems like a good time since we're talking to the chat. Let's do a little bit of the roll call. I love this one. The very first chat we had today was from Brooklyn's own. How you doing? Teams are struggling against our bench. Let's be real. This is a practice for our bench until our stars come back. Yeah. This speaks volumes. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Shout out Brooklyn's own.
What up?
Can't argue about that one. We got our boy Jose Andios is in the building. Savage NYC. Good morning. Jonathan, Double A. We'll see you in a little while. We're heading out to the Yankees game. We got... Did I say JJ? I saw JJ in there. Our boy Nick said nice. The Chenzo gang is in the chat. John Pettit, what it do? We got BX Knicks for life in the building. Nick P, what up, bro? What up? Hey, the perfect married couple. E Gibson is in the building. Hey, E. Who else? I don't want to miss anybody. We got Chris N. We've got G. Gideon is in the building.
Our guy Dream is in the building.
Dream is in the building. What it
and
do?
Gotta give a shout out.
Shout out.
Yo, every time we release something, we know we have a sale right there. A true supporter of the channel. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Wiz is in the building. Our future media is in the building. Let's jump into it, guys. I mean, again, we look at last night's game. For me, it's like I was talking with Eddie last night while I was whipping his ass in ping pong. And it was... I don't put any stock into these games right now. Like even the other day, Eddie, right? I said, I can see us beating the Cavs. And I said, surprisingly, if we don't have Jalen, I can see us losing to the Hawks just because then we don't have any of our guys. Everybody's exhausted. And we saw that last night, right? Like even when Phil and I were talking, and I know Phil's going to jump in on the Precious stuff here in a bit, but even with the weird decision-making last night, when we were able to tie it up and see that cardiac Knicks fake comeback and then just deplete, Eddie kept saying it. Here it goes. We're going to get that into 7, and then we're going to fall off again. For me, guys, I love the fact that we're still seeing the fight that this team provides without our pieces, okay? Because we are literally making guys that think they're going to have an easy night with none of our guys, and we're still fighting and making them play all 4 quarters. And I felt that same way last night. And let's be real. No-name guys always make a name for themselves when they come to the Garden, okay? Because there was guys last night where we were messing up the names. We're like, wait, was that? Who is that? Who is that? Huh? That wasn't Murray. Like, it was just a weird game overall. I'm not upset about it, though. It does suck dropping to the 50, but I'm not upset, Eddie.
I mean, the bottom line is we just couldn't hit shots. Really, like we couldn't hit shots and we couldn't play defense, right? Every time we would get it close, we'd get it to within 5 points. 2 points. At one point in the third quarter, we tied the game. But every single time we tied the game, we could never take the lead. That was the problem. We couldn't stop them on the other end. Yeah, we'd come back, we'd tie, we'd make it close. But it was, rinse and repeat, repeat. We'd get close, even tied in the third quarter. But then the Hawks would just go on a run, whether it was DeJounte Murray or Jalen Johnson or Hunter. All these guys just kept on beating us, and it was like repetitive. But again, we have nobody on this team right now. We have nobody. We need help so bad. It's crazy. We only shot 38% last night. That's pretty bad. And
yeah, that's the other thing. Nothing was dropping.
Guys. We had open looks.
Yeah, nothing was dropping, like wide open shots. Yeah. Real quick, I'll toss it to Phil, but I saw our boy Ron, still Knicks fan, is in the building. Said, what's good, Knicks fam? Salute to the chat. Salute to Jerry, Eddie, Hector, Jiggaman, Phil. Something is not right with Burks. Yeah, he's Burks. He is not washed, but he's not comfortable because he is not this bad. Again, and Phil, you know what? Before I shout out more people in here, touch on that, dude, because I know we spoke about that a little bit last night, where are we putting too much attention on Burks? Because we're seeing a Burks that we didn't trade for. He's having to do more and take shots that we weren't hoping for. We want to see a world where you're only seeing 10, 12, 13 minutes for Burks and Bogey, period, when our main starters are here. So are we putting too much negativity on Burks right now, bro?
All right. So first, before I go into that, I'm looking at our viewers. We have about 80 people watching on X right now. If you guys could do us all a favor, we appreciate you guys on X. If you guys would not mind, I posted the link on in the chat and in the X rooms. If you guys can head on over to YouTube, that really helps us when it comes to, the visibility of the channel and the visibility of this episode. So if you guys would not mind taking a second, heading on over to YouTube, watching the rest of the stream there, we would appreciate it. Obviously, if you can't and you're just driving and you have to keep it on Twitter, we totally understand. But if you can head on over to X, we would appreciate that. But other than that, I don't think we're putting too much on, because one thing you guys talked about was we're running out of fuel. And for certain players, that makes complete sense. It reminds me of growing up watching Looney Tunes or Animaniacs, and, they get all fueled up, or even like the original Space Jam movie. And all of a sudden, the gas starts to run out, and you see the players like, in real life in the cartoons. And that's what we're seeing before our eyes with guys like Dante DiVincenzo, with guys like Precious Achiuwa, that are pretty much putting the team on their back in these moments that we're missing players. However, Burks is not that guy. Burks is not the guy that's wearing that burden. He's not putting that weight on his shoulders. He's just making very, very bad decisions. Like, I'm sorry. If you are a paid NBA player, there is no justification at all for you to airball a finger roll layup. Like, there is no excuse for that. You cannot be that close to the basket and still airball it. Like, okay, you chucked up a three. That was a bad decision. I'm not happy about it. But now you're airballing layups. So with Burks, it's one of those things that's very, very frustrating, is that, seriously, it's like one of those things where he can't, like I just saw it in the chat. JJ said he can't hit anything. It doesn't matter where he's shooting it from.
That's true.
They're just not good shots. And a lot of them are contested by better defenders than he is, an offensive player. So they're going to get the upper hand every time because Burks is not using, like, in my opinion, any basketball knowledge, any basketball IQ when he's making these choices. And he's putting us in very bad situations. There were times where we were coming back into the game yesterday, and then it was a Burke mistake that led to another transition bucket for them. So for me, no, I can't give grace to Burks, because the things that we were hoping we did not see from Burks is a majority of what we are seeing from Burks. I was hoping for the best, was hoping for a better version of him, but that is not what we're seeing outside of the first game that he played for us.
I would have liked to seen some Shake Milton last night. We didn't get, he's here now. I think we should start, Tibs especially. He's got to start giving him some consideration to get some minutes. I mean, Burks shot what is it? He 5 of 14 last night. That's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. And we got this guy Shake here. I know he's not the best player in the world, but we're at the point now, fellas. Come on, man. Especially last night. Give Shake a little burn. Let's just see what we got here in this guy. We brought him here for a reason. Come on, man. I mean, both of our guys we got at the trade deadline, they don't look comfortable. They don't look comfortable. I'm sorry.
And it's crazy too, because there's been some splashes from Bogey, right? Where we're like, that's the shot we want. But even last night, if we're switching up to Bogey a minute, Eddie, I said it to you while we were hanging out. Even his shot looked off. It wasn't that same arc. Like, everything just seemed pushed and forced. It didn't feel like it was the Bogey shot. And again, with the Burks thing is, I guess the reason I don't just harp on it again is because we are missing our guys, right? So, but it does feel like the Detroit Burks literally jumped ship during the trade. He said, screw that. And now he's back to, I'm just going to put up whatever, because the shot selection is horrible. And that's the one thing as a fan base we've all been talking about.
He was better in Detroit.
Oh, 100% better in Detroit. His shots right now are garbage.
He was so much better. I don't know. I'm with Phil on this one. I think their powers got zapped. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Hold on, real quick. Shout out to Just Knicks is in the building. Saw him pop in there. Allentown's favorite is in the building. Appreciate you, my guy. Chat is blowing up. Snowball, saw you in there. Johnny Jimenez, all you guys are in there. Phil, I saw this one here. Here's another one. Hartenstein. We talked about this last night. I love our chat because the things we talk about when we're here together, everybody in the chat talks about on the same page. But again, I said it last game. I felt like we were just bringing iHeart back too soon. If he's a little hurt, let him rest. You know, like we're still going to have that same battle with or without him. Why not let Sim get a little bit more burn, right?
Yeah.
Sims is doing well. I thought he did well again last night. So I feel like we're risking too much out there. He does not look right, man.
So me and Phil were talking about this and with Sims. I'm like, yo, Sims looks great tonight. And he's like, yeah, man. And we were both saying, like, yo, you know, he just looked off. He looks off.
The hard thing is this, okay? So starting with Burks, okay? Burks is shooting 14% from 3 last night. 14. Like, that is unexcusable. Like, inexcusable for a player that was brought here to be a 3-point shooter. 13%. That's insane. Then you move on to Bogey. I'm going to give Bogey a little more grace than I am Burks. Because Bogey, if you look, Bogey was put into this game and into this roster now to be more than what he really is. Yeah. Like, he's been a spot-up shooter his whole career, okay? You're seeing him push himself in order to try to give us offense that is right now anemic. Like, we are anemic offensively. So I got to give him credit because he is trying things that are working at times, such as off the dribble, such as step to the side threes and step back threes, which is not normally his game. And he's at least trying defensively as well. So I'm not going to crucify Bogey for games like last night because I feel like he is completely out of his element. Burks is not out of his element. So excuses for Burks, inexcusable. Bogey, I understand. There's grace there. With Hartenstein, what's crazy is he only played 20 minutes. But it feels like longer than 20 minutes because you see him struggling. So it's hard in these situations because when a player typically comes back from injury, they are one piece that was missing, or maybe even two, the number 2 piece that's missing. Yeah. And the rest of the team can cover up the woes and the insufficiencies that are there. But right now, with Hartenstein being one of the only starters that have come back, it's kind of hard for our bench players to bear that burden of filling those insufficiencies that we have right now as a roster. So, unfortunately, like, what can you do? Because Sims already played almost 26 minutes, you know? And so it's like, yes, you know, I can't blame Tibs there completely because they're like, you got to balance it, you know? And there's things that, unfortunately, Sims still has to learn how to do. But it is hard watching because Hartenstein was playing the best basketball of his career before the injury. And so we got to find ways to take some of that pressure off of him so that he can get fully healthy and fully ready to come back because he's not himself.
I'm going to switch this for a second because I see someone in the chat. I don't think I've seen him in here before. Cameron Goldberg, how you doing? Says, I don't even think my Yankees are going to be good. They can get a bunch of injuries too. Cameron,
stop with the voodoo.
Let's take it easy. All right. As of right now, we got all of our Yankees healthy. Tune in later tonight when we do our training recap. We're heading out to Yankee spring training today, but I understand you. And the reason I brought it up is because for Yankees fans, this is very similar to what we dealt with last year. You've got all the pieces in place and the injuries have taken them all away. I brought this question up the other day and I'm going to ask it again, Eddie. Every game that passes that we don't have our guys back is the finish line getting here too soon before we have a chance to really solidify ourselves and not be forced into a play-in team. Is that leash really getting shorter, bro? Because what do we got left now?
20 games. 20 games left. So, look, man, again, the guys, you know, Randle, OG, Mitch. Well, let's just say Randle and OG. Randle and OG needed at least 10 games to ramp up their activities before the playoffs. They need at least 10 games because, again, these are all new players coming into the system. Bojan is new. Burks is new. And, yes, Burks was here in the past, but these other guys around them have not been here. Dante wasn't here 3 years ago, okay? You know, we again, and like I said, this schedule is not easy. We're going on a West Coast trip. We have Orlando, then we have Philly for 2 at home, and then we go out to Portland. We go out to Denver. We hit who else? It's not easy. Is all I'm saying. Golden State. We're and Sacramento. Those are the 4. That's the road trip out there. That is hard.
Because my thing, Eddie, is I'm not worried about not making the playoffs. We are a playoff team. If we get we know that, okay? The benefit of the cushion that we had, luckily, was to deal with these injuries, right? It wasn't the plan, but the fact is we've been able to hold steady. My fear is if we do make that play-in, I'm not scared of any team, but last night is the perfect example of what can happen in a play-in game.
Right. That's what I was saying. I was saying to you guys last night, and you're like, well, that's not the same guys. These aren't going to be the same guys, but again,
we hope
you slip down into the play-in, anything can happen. Again, if you go to 7 or 8, okay, you get 2 games. But if you slip down to that 9 or 10, which I don't think the Knicks will slip that far, you only have 1 game. So anything can happen in 1 game. Some guy could get hot, score 50 points. You don't know. But look, man, if we get, I think the target date is March 14th. That's the start of that's at the Portland Trail Blazers. Supposedly, Randle's going to be ready by that date. If Randle's ready, maybe this thing plays out differently. I don't know. But again, these guys need at least 10 games together to mesh, to gel, and to get that chemistry. We need it.
I saw Just Knicks in the chat said the worst case we fall to 7 and play Cavs.
Yeah, that's not bad, but still.
Exactly.
Again,
I'm not complaining. Get me not the play-in, and I'm happy, right?
Oh, no, it'll be the play-in with that.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, because 7 and 8, it would have to
7
and 8 be the winner of that and get the 7th seed.
David Rio says, let's just get into the playoffs and be healthy. I will say I do want to highlight one person from last night because, again, we can sit here. It's easy to focus on the negative stuff and all that after a loss, but there are good things. Like our boy Deuce. Can we just play it? Can we just play it one time? I know you all remember. Oh! That boy did dirtiness. Do it again, Deuce. Again. Sorry, I got carried away.
Man. Yo, that was the dunk of the year. That was the dunk of the year.
I mean, even Phil's kids, we were celebrating, so they just felt like, hey, everybody else is. They were like, yeah. Like, go ahead, Phil. How we feeling about Deuce last night, bro?
Yeah, you know what's great about Deuce is he is continuing to improve on the things that we said needed improvement. Okay. Last game, you saw him freaking break Mobley's ankle with that little cross-heady step that he did. He did that again last night. He's working on that move. He is perfecting it, and it is getting people's legs buckled because he does it so swiftly. And so this is something that is exciting to see come playoff time, is a guy like Deuce McBride being able to step up and continue to try and take on that role. And it's great because Burks is eliminating himself from that position, of opportunity, which is good because I honestly, ever since, Burks was gone, since Quick was gone, I wanted McBride to get his shine. And I don't remember who posted it, but it actually came out that part of that trade, the purpose of it was so that Miles McBride would be able to get opportunities to step up and take that position and see if he was eligible, able to fill that role. And he's starting to do that. And I like what I'm seeing. So he's working on that, dribble, which was a huge, huge thing. And the confidence of that dunk. That dunk was incredible. Seeing him soar like that and just the ferocity and the fierceness that he had coming down, I'm like, yo, that's like a little pit bull right there. That's a little pit bull right there that other teams need to be worried about if he continues to develop. Because if you look at it, at the pace he's developing, it was only right before All-Star. What was it? February that trade was made, or
December?
December.
Okay, trade was December.
So December to now, and including All-Star break, is his time to actually get more than 8 to 10 minutes a game. This is the first time this kid has actually been able to get sufficient minutes. And the growth we've seen since that first game to now is insane. That is great growth for a young player. So I'm very, very thankful.
Eddie, I'm going to toss it to you real quick. I just want to give a shout out. We got over 213 people in the building rocking with us. If you're not over here on YouTube with us, the chat is lit. Jump on over here at Morning Brew Sports. Jump over from X. come hang out over here on YouTube. We are sitting at 3,767 subscribers. Our goal is 4K before the start of the season for the Yankees. Can we make it happen before the playoffs? You guys smash that like, hit the subscribe. Couple shout outs. Ala Wise is in the building. How you doing, my guy? I saw Building Blocks in the building. Teresa T is in the building. Hey, we will get to this one, Teresa, because we for sure got to talk about the lack of pressures in the fourth. CP the artist is in the building. Charm Boy 72 Abel. I heart need to sit out until he's healthy. It's obvious he's playing hurt. Facts. We were talking about that. I just want to make sure we didn't miss any other new people in the chat. Let's see. We do have Travel Vibes. Salute. Morning, y'all. Appreciate you, Travel. David Rios with the $4.99 super chat, keeping the lights on. Let's just get into the 6th seed, be fully healthy. We're going to kill it. Great job on the first Jets episode, by the way. Hey, thanks, David. Appreciate you. The Jets nightcap was fun. I may or may not have had one too many drinks. Eddie, go ahead and talk on Deuce McBride.
Hold on, real quick. Real quick, before we do. We got the super chat. I do want to say I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm not a Yankee content creator. That's Jigga and that's Hector. However, we're here in Tampa and we are going to spring training today and possibly tomorrow. We got some opportunities to get some tickets for tomorrow. So if you guys want to, please buy us a coffee or send a super chat today. If we get to about the 120 mark, we'll be able to get the tickets that we need for these guys to go to the game tomorrow and for me to capture the content that they need for the Yankees Morning Brew and the Yankees post-game report that has just recently launched as well. So if you guys can.
Wait, you mean we keep adding more and more shows? You mean by the end of March we'll have 5 more shows on here? Listen, if you guys want to buy us a coffee for the mere fact that I'm trying to raise enough to clone myself, I'm okay with that. All right? Another producer would be great.
Please, you guys, coffee. Yeah. we are broke. We are pathetic. We need money to do things. All right, please.
Phil gets so mad every time Eddie says pathetic. Phil's like, speak for yourself.
$3, whatever you can give us, just buy us a coffee.
Eddie just makes it so hard because I'm like vibing with him, and then I'm just like, yo,
please, just give us buy us a coffee. We need it. Jigga needs it. Please.
Let me see. We got AP in the building. How you doing? Says Knicks are in trouble, folks. Oh, damn. I pulled this one up. And I can see a scenario where they don't make playoffs. Stop it. That started to look like a real because even if those guys do come back, it's not automatically that they're the same.
Oh, he's right.
You can't argue it, right?
There's some truth to that, fellas. Look, the schedule is not going to be kind to us. We have the West Coast trip. Then we, come back. We get Brooklyn. But look, man, the bottom line is we got to get our guys back. But just to speak on Deuce McBride a little bit, listen, all Deuce needs to do is start hitting that shot consistently. If he starts hitting that shot, he is going to be a major, major problem because he's got you. We're seeing it. We're seeing the ball handling. We're seeing the finishing. We never saw him be able to finish like this ever throughout his whole career. So the fact that he's doing this, it's impressive. And Tibs has elevated him to point guard number 2. So there's a point where we might see he might be even better than IQ. He has that chance to grow. So I'm really
Hold on a second, guys. Shout out David Rios, my guy with the 99. He said, get your asses to the game. There you go. Enjoy the games, my brothers. Love what you guys are doing. Life is good. David, thank you so much, bro. Like, we always do this in hopes of maybe we'll get there. Wow. Literally, I've said it a million times, and it's not a kumbaya moment. People in the chat, if it wasn't for this community, the Knicks event doesn't happen the way it did last week. We don't get to go out there. We don't get to have that experience. We don't get to meet a Monica McNutt and bring that content. If it's not for you guys, we don't get to be out here and literally meet guys that we're building content with like Eddie and go to the Yankees. I mean, it's just you guys literally blow my mind every time that you're willing to put your own hard-earned money, David, like that for clowns like us. I appreciate you, my guy. Crazy. Also, shout out to Teresa T. She just purchased 3 coffees. Enjoy your coffee. Thank you so much. David Rios, everybody, thank you, Teresa T. It means the world to us. I just want that to be said. But let me go ahead and get back to topic here because let's switch a little bit, Phil. I'm going to throw it to you first. We did still get good news yesterday. Tom Thibodeau says that Jalen Brunson's knee contusion is better than it was, and the Knicks are holding him out tonight so that he's completely ready. Brunson also underwent an MRI and came back clean. So that's all positive, right? We were all saying it when he went down. Give him the day off against the Falcons or against the Hawks. Let him breathe. Let's get it together. Obviously, during that game, we missed him tremendously. But go ahead, Phil. Talk on JB.
Yeah, for me, that's wisdom. Wisdom by the coach and by the front office. Because at the end of the day, there's many things we can do without and still contend Jalen Brunson is not one of them. We need Jalen Brunson to be able to make this team better. It's just a obvious fact. You look at the guys around him.
I had to put it up. It made me laugh.
We appreciate you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
We can't ignore the fact that Jalen Brunson makes his guys better. The guys, not only he makes them better, but they play better because of their love and respect for him. See guys like Dante and Josh Hart, in his absence, wanting to pick up the slack because they respect him. They respect the organization. But without him, we're sinking. We don't have instant offense. He is our guy when it comes to instant offense. Him and Julius Randle are our offense. In their absence, you see what happens. We can get so close, tie up the game multiple times, and like we were saying all night, and Eddie was so frustrated with, we would tie it up, and then all of a sudden we're down 15 within 30 seconds because we don't have enough offense to go tit for tat with a lot of teams. No. So once we defensively let down and they start to score, we don't have the instant offense to bounce back. Like Eric said, he draws all the attention, makes life easier for other players. So what I always have to keep in mind, and I want fans to keep in mind, because honestly, there's some that, shout out to my guy, Ari. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, Ari's so toxic. Ari's been making points like, yo, I'm not jumping out the building. We're missing our main guys. Our whole starting team is gone. Don't freak out. And so shout out to Ari, because it's true. There is no reason to freak out right now because the guys that draw the defense are out. Julius Randle always draws double teams. Jalen Brunson draws double teams. OG causes people to have to guard him. So what we're seeing from Dante DiVincenzo should give us hope for what we're going to see, because he's learned how to step up like this with the defenders on his butt, because
and granted, he did have a couple turnovers these last couple games, right? But I think that's because he's being asked to do so much, right? So he's trying to be a facilitator. Plus, he's trying to find that three-point shot every chance he gets. So again, things we're not going to see when we have our guys healthy. I want to pull this one up. Nick P said, I think Shake paired with Deuce will definitely make the bench better. He has better complement than Burks. He can at least get into the paint. Eddie, I'm going to let you touch on that one. I mean, it seems like that's legit.
It's like I said before, we got to give, with the way Burks is playing, now we brought Shake Milton in. Let's just give him a look. Let's see what this guy has. Because clearly the Burks experiment has not worked out. It hasn't been working. The eye test shows it. The stats are screaming that this guy can't shoot. Okay, so we picked up Shake. Now, I know he's not the best player in the world, but maybe in this system, he could be better. Maybe in this system, it elevates him. He's been known to be a defensive player in the past, so he should be a guy that Tibs could go to and look to, and maybe this guy could get off a shot easier than Burks. Maybe he's more comfortable here than Burks. So, again, there's no excuse why Burks is getting these minutes. I know we're nitpicking at this point, but look, we're losing. We're losing. So we have to switch things up.
Yeah, but I think the other thing we've talked about too, Eddie, though, right? And we've talked about on this episode, on this show, we've talked about it with the chat. As much as we hate to say it, some of the benefit of the injuries is you're able to see what you have with these other pieces. Right? Instead of just harping on this isn't what we're going to see when everybody's back. Okay, I get that. We all agree on that. This is not our starting unit. This is not our squad. But now we can sit here and kind of pinpoint and say, hey, these role players, these are the ones that are going to really be those guys. And you said it a little while ago. Burks is showing he might not be that guy at all, coming off the bench as well. If that's the shot selection you're giving, then I don't care. Bring me another person to fill that spot, right? And again, not trashing on Burks. It's just what we're seeing. We can only judge what you've given us, my guy, and you haven't given us anything.
Listen, I wish he was good. I wish he was still shooting.
Literally, exactly.
But
we were happy with the trade because it made sense for what we needed.
Right.
But we're not getting that. We haven't seen that version of him. So, Phil, let me ask you, bro, and I'm asking the chat, realistically, let's say we see what we see with Burks and everything. Do you still think, though, when our guys come back, we can get that Detroit version that Burks was in the beginning of the season? Because I still think it's just the shot selection. That doesn't change. No matter when you come in, if you're still taking those shitty shots, it's going to be the same result.
Yeah. So here's the thing. My frustration with Burks, and I see everyone talking about Deuce McBride in the chat. I see Savage and, Allah Wise going back and forth talking about, yeah, but Deuce still can't, pass. He can't this, he can't that. I understand, but there is growth. When are we going to not be content with the fact that we are seeing growth? Because before, when we first heard about the trade, it was, oh, but he can't shoot. Like, are we really going to trust a backup, point guard to come in with no scoring? He can't shoot. Then he starts shooting, and it's, oh, but he can't dribble. Da, 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 da. Now he's working on his dribble, and we're seeing that. And we're like, oh, but he can't pass. Oh, my goodness. Like, there's always something. Yes, this kid is not perfect. I understand that. But what metrics are you holding him to? Look at a lot of other, like, PGs coming off benches. There are very few that are, like, elite type starting type point guards. That's why they're coming off the bench. But we're seeing growth in him. So for me, I'm content with seeing growth. I'm content with seeing the effort and the desire to get better that I've seen from Miles McBride. That's my problem with Burks. Burks is not a young new player. Like, he's played. He's a veteran. He's seasoned. So these decisions should not be made. These shots should not be taken. So for me, I don't necessarily think that we're going to see something completely different because he does not fit into a actual like system that we're type forming. I feel like in Detroit, it was, hey, we are completely lost. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know if we're going completely young, if we're trying to keep the vets, if we're trying to whatever. So they were just letting everybody do whatever, throwing it at the wall, seeing what would stick. And so he would be able to do whatever he wanted, take as many shots as he wanted, and they started to fall. That's great. But that, to me, is the anomaly Burks. Like, I feel like he's gone back to what we were like, all right, let's trade him, for us. We're seeing that again. So I don't know where.
Well, look, you know me. I know Allah Wise and you usually a different spectrum. So things I would like to point out first, you guys are on different sides this week. So life is back to normal, people. All right. Because we had a week where Allah Wise and Phil and all them were agreeing and shit was weird. Okay. But I'm with him there. Right now, he's showing growth. He's still a backup. I agree with that.
Who is calling him a starter? What person on this panel called him a starter?
Yeah.
I don't think a single person has called him a starter.
Oh, you know what? Let me do one thing real quick.
Not one person.
We've got 275 people in the building. Listen, I'm going to put it on the screen. If you're watching us on X, we appreciate you guys. And we know it takes an extra step for you to just jump over to YouTube, but it helps us in a big way. If you'll jump over, hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's run it up because YouTube right now says you guys have like 260 people watching you, but only 30 people like your shit. So come over here and smash the like button so they know you actually like us. Mez is in the building. What it do, Mez?
All right, real quick. I'm going to take a pause real quick.
Pause.
I want to share some stuff. All right.
Right.
So we want to share what's going on the channel. So here we go. All right. So coming in April for the playoffs, we'll be kicking it back, and I'll be announcing some really, really exciting co-hosts that will be part of it. But I will be kicking up the Knicks nightcap once again with our once a week, recap of what the Knicks are doing over a nice craft cocktail or a glass of whiskey. And speaking of a nightcap, my bro Jigga has just kicked off last night, and it was incredible, or 2 nights ago, the Jets nightcap. And that is great. The lineup is fire. They are so good. So if you are part of the Jets, You got to come through. And thank you, Teresa. I worked hard on the graphic, so I appreciate you. And my guy, Hector, all right? So our guy, Hector, typically he's pretty intimidated by Twitter, but he's putting on his big boy pants. And this season, he's going to be starting, boom, the Yankees post-game spaces. So lock in. There's not a huge Yankee presence on Twitter when it comes to spaces, but we are about to change that. So shout out to our guy Hector. And then,
but wait, there's more.
Speaking Yankees again, Jigga has stepped back into doing more Yankee content alongside Hector with the Yankees pregame report. So they will be doing either pregames or just recaps or whatever. And then last but not least, this guy on the panel right here, Mr. Eddie Presti himself, and our guy, Al Cintron, will be launching the Mets Evening Brew. So if you are a Mets fan and you have felt forsaken on the Morning Brew Sports Network, you no longer have to feel forsaken because Eddie and Al will be having the Mets
and
Evening
Anthony
Brew
Rivera
coming
as well.
very, very soon. So we have a lot that we are working on. So thank you guys. Please, if you have not yet, head over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification buttons. Let's build this community. We see Teresa out there. We see JJ out there. Andios out there. All Met fans. You guys are the reason we are doing this. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy for us to add more shows. But we know that this community is looking for things like that. And we feel like Eddie and Al are the guys to bring it to you. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, Ron and John.
And now that the infomercial is complete, let's jump back into Teresa T's question. She said, I know I'm late. I don't know if y'all talked about this yet, but why, why, capital Y, didn't Precious Achiuwa play in the fourth until the last few minutes last night? Teresa, I'm going to let Phil do this one first because literally this man for the entire fourth quarter was up in arms. Was he not, Eddie? He was fucking, where the hell is he? Sounded like Tibs, Teresa.
He's 7 to me.
Where's
He's
Precious?
7 to me. Where's Precious?
Wait, Phil. I just feel like the graphics should have a moment while you compose yourself. Even JD, our boy from Knicks Fan TV, mistakenly Precious Achiuwa on the bench. Knicks weren't getting any stops. Phil, go ahead and get on your soapbox. Go ahead.
All right, Phil.
So I've given Tibs his flowers, but right now I'm going to give him the Billy Madison bag of poop on the front step. I'm going to ring the doorbell, hide in the bush, and watch him step in the fire poop because that's exactly what he did last night.
He called it poop.
It was disgusting to watch Precious Achiuwa be on the bench in that game. Let's forget the defensive stops that he's able to get. Let's ignore that for a second. Let's just say offensively, you look at a guy like Precious Achiuwa who is shooting a freaking 87.5% from the game, and he is sitting on the bench while Bojan is out there. Yes, he's the three-point shooter, but he was shooting 33% from the game. And that's because he wound up hitting a three in that time frame. But before that, he was shooting 31% when Tibs made that decision to sit Precious Achiuwa and leave Bojan out there. Bojan, as much as we like him, is not an elite defender. So now we have a guy who's shooting 87%, sitting on the bench, Precious Achiuwa with 15 points, which at the time when Tibs made that decision, he only had one less point than Bojan. So it's not like Bojan was killing it on the offensive game that it was worth the risk. It was pretty much the same amount of points, except one of them was shooting at an 87.5% and one was shooting at 31.5%. And yet the one that shot 87% was on the bench. Then you add in their defense. The fact that Precious Achiuwa had already had one steal, one block, was making things hard for his guys to score, and you sit him on the bench when we need stops, we're going and we're tying it, and then we're losing by 13, and then we're tying it, and then we're going down 13. You would think, hey, we have to get stops now that we're tied back up. Let's bring in the actual elite defender that we have sitting on the freaking bench. But no,
and
he's
Phil,
there.
John even said, don't forget the big blocks too. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot. And this lady, I don't know if you know who she is, but it wasn't Miles screaming at 2:30 a.m. It was Phil. Phil's wife is in the chat. That was Phil yelling about Precious at 2:30 in the morning.
And then let's keep going. The fact that when it comes to rebounds, they're missing shots and now they're getting rebounds. What happened? Oh, Precious Achiuwa was on the bench who had 9. I think he had 6 rebounds. And we have Bojan still out there who had 3 rebounds. And then you talk about, like, you know, the fact that, you know, Bojan is out there and they are picking him apart. I don't understand it. To me, it makes no sense why Precious Achiuwa was not out there. A guy who can defend, a guy who has proven that he is taking on a miniature version of Julius Randle bully ball in Julius Randle's absence, and yet he's on the bench. Made no sense to me whatsoever. I think that game could have been won if he was out there and not Bojan.
Eddie, I'm going to throw it over to you real quick. Ebony in the chat. What up, Ebony? That's our girl right there. Tibs was tibbing yesterday. I can hear her in her voice, too. Tibs was tibbing yesterday. Precious started. Our Spark was the only one driving to the basket. Bogey missing wide open crucial shots and getting hunted on defense. Facts. On Dios, Precious had that face like any other player that played for Coach Tibs. What the hell are you taking me out for? I even saw E, and I know E holds back. I like Tibs and his hands are tied with the injuries, but his in-game adjustments and rotations are questionable at best.
Yep.
Right. We talked about it, E, right? I mean, literally before the trade. Will we see him be able to utilize rotations better? Go ahead, Eddie.
We lost the battle of the paint, right? Points in the paint. We lost the battle of the rebounds. Those are the 2 key stats that we need to win, okay? In order for us to win each game, we need to get those rebounds and we need to get our points in the paint. Obviously, with Brunson gone, you're not going to get as many points in the paint. But with Precious, you get rebounds and you get easy baskets. Right. So you're going to make that battle of the points in the paint closer. It's going to be closer than 13. Same with the rebounds. He's going to get more rebounds. Now, the problem is we brought in Bogey, and he hasn't been Bogey because we're expecting this guy to be a savior, and he's shooting up all these shots that he's not used to doing and he's not comfortable doing. But last night, when you're 7 of 8 from the field, get the fuck in the game. We need Precious in the game because we couldn't make stops and we weren't getting any rebounds. It's a no-brainer. Tibs fucked up last night.
Yeah. I mean, look, even Teresa a minute ago, remember that we all remember that moment. The minute he got in, he got that offensive board and he did still.
Yes.
It was Dante, right?
Yeah, in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and Dante shot the 3, right? That's who ended up shooting. We were like, oh, there. Now you put him. What was left? 2 minutes or something? Like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Phil, I'm going to toss it over to you, bro. I saw, look, the whole chat, guys. Precious a better defender than Randle. Oh, Eric coming in strong. I agree. Bojan can help this year a little with hitting threes, not the whole offense. Right. We all agree, John. We brought him over here to be that guy that would put up the threes when we needed it. The second unit wasn't putting up points. But now they all seem to be just one big second unit is all we've seen for the last month and a half.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a main player. But Bogey at this stage in his career, he's not a main plate piece. He's a 6th man at best. And when you're running this guy, however many minutes Tibs runs him, it's not going to help. It's not going to help. He's still not comfortable in this offense. And again, I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but this dude needs to get it together. Let's be perfectly clear. Bogey, you need to start hitting some threes, and you got to get some rebounds. Because if you don't, we're going to be in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
So my question, here's the one thing I want to say. I don't think Bogey was averaging 30-plus minutes a game when, what was he averaging in Detroit? He wasn't doing that, right? So I do believe that when he goes to his actual role, it will be different. I think when he actually plays his role, my problem is he should be playing more so in that role right now than he is. Like, Tibs has no excuse to be playing him 30-plus minutes and playing Precious Achiuwa 23 minutes. The fact that they played almost 8-minute difference, okay? And the score difference, because he hit a last-minute, like, 3 that really didn't mean anything, was 4 points, and you're supposed to be, like, this elite scorer for us? Like, in 8 minutes more than Precious Achiuwa, like, you need to be doing more. So I think the minutes need to be moved. I think that if the minutes were different, we would have seen a different end to that game. I think Precious Achiuwa would have been the guy to help us at least bring it home. And if we would have still lost the game, I at least would have felt good about it because we had the right pieces in at that time. And then it's like, all right, they beat us. But looking at that and going, are you kidding me? The last 6 minutes of the game, we're trusting the 33% shooting of this guy? Like, to me, we beat ourselves. We did not allow ourselves an opportunity to win that game.
He played 32 minutes a game in Detroit, fellas. That's a lot of minutes. He should be used to this. There's not, again, I get it. He's not comfortable. I get it. It's a new offense. But, dude, you played 32 minutes a game in Detroit. You hit 20 points. You had 20 points a game there. We need him to bring this over here. And we need it quick, fellas. There's no more excuses with these guys.
I'm going to take a quick pause because, ladies and gentlemen, we're rocking with over 315 people in the building with us. Smash the like, hit the subscribe. When you do it, it's like this. Watch, you hit it and you go, we get a little notification. It says, somebody likes you. It doesn't really do that, but please hit the smash, the likey, hit the sub. I want to pull this up. Our boy, the art man, formerly known as Steve. Tibs becomes a prisoner of the moment sometimes, a lot of times. He thinks about the game so much. He has the outer body experience like that's so Raven. Until a foul is called, he wakes up mad and makes a sub. We're back here, Phil. We're back into a part of the season where we got to sit there, and now we're questioning all the moves that Tibs is doing. And I think last night in that fourth quarter is what kind of really sparked it more than a lot of the past games recently, because it was apparent that pressure should have been there, bro. Yeah. Do you think we can see Tibs kind of change it up a little bit? I know it's something we've been hoping out for years, but last night is very concerning for me.
So I want to say this.
Tabit, Burks and Bogey trade, the worst trade in Knicks history. Ooh, we've got other ones, Tyler. We'll put a list of them together. This is definitely not it.
So there's a proverb that I really love, and it's Proverbs 26:11. And I'm not trying to be rude to Tibs here, but this is the problem when you go back to your old ways. It gets people to like kind of have a tainted view of the things that you've done well because you go back to those things. So it says, as a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. A fool repeats his folly. Someone that has done this stuff before going back to it. And that's the frustrating thing with Tibs is you give him so many flowers and then you go to the table and you see he just lets them die. Like, they're not in a vase. They're not getting watered. He's not building upon the thing that you just, like, gave him the credit for. He then goes, thank you for acknowledging those changes I've made. Now I'm going to go back. Like, it's like he does enough to get you off the ledge, and then he goes, hey, I'm going to let you back to the ledge again. And then when I'm right about to jump, he wants to pull us back in. It's frustrating, to say the least.
It's frustrating, but look, man, until we get our guys back, we're stuck in it. We're going to be stuck, all right? Because, again, we're asking these guys to be something they're not. Now, on Detroit, when you lose 30 games in a row, it's easy to score 20 points a game. But now you can eat, right? It's easy. But now you're in New York, you're 9 or 10 games over 500, whatever we are. The pressure's much higher. This is New York. This is not Detroit where there's no expectations. There's expectations on you. And that should be on Tibs and everybody else on this organization should be pressuring these guys. Listen, we brought you guys in to do X, Y, and Z. Now do it. Please. We brought you guys here for a reason. And we need Bogey and we need his points. And we need it soon. Because if we don't get it, we're going to keep fucking losing. And that's what scares me.
And then you know what makes it even worse is I still have to sit there and be the one out of all of us where I'm just like, I'm still in the the part of the ship where I'm like, we don't have our team. I'm not watching our Knicks. I'm watching a bunch of guys trying to figure out when we do have our team built, where they're going to play. To me, it's like watching a bunch of bench rows get their practice and figure out where they're going to fit in when we start a season. The timing sucks. It's horrible. But I want to pull this up before you go, Phil. Look, Ebony said, during pressure, folks always go back to what they know or are comfortable doing. And that's what we're seeing, right? With Tibs. Right. Go ahead, Phil. You're about to go off. I saw you.
Yeah, and that's the concerning part.
Thank you, Los Knicks.
Going into the playoffs, it's not playoff time is always pressure time, you know? So if that's what he goes back to when the pressure cooker is on, that's concerning going into the playoffs, which is nonstop pressure cooking, you know? So that's the concern and worry that, you know, I have after games like last night. But real quick, we have 332 people watching right now. It's kind of crazy. We have like almost 230 are on X right now. So if you're watching on X and you can head on over to our YouTube channel, we would appreciate that. Do us a favor. If you're on X, make sure you are following Brew Crew Sports _ on Twitter so that you're able to watch more of these. Also, head on over to our YouTube and subscribe. Yes, we're going to try to keep on going as much as we can, posting it on X, but just in case you get those notifications. So head on over. We appreciate you guys rocking with us wherever you're rocking with us, but also make sure that you are following us. There's only 44 likes on the episode. That's not okay, though, because there's 337 of you watching.
That is not okay, folks. So listen, but guys, hold on. You got to understand, Phil, you got to understand the times that we live in, all right? This is how we're going to get some more subbies. Hey, you people over there on Twitter, check this out. Jump over right now and just give me a screenshot on Twitter. Show me you sub to our channel or you followed us on X. Every single person that shows that subscribed, everybody that's in the chat, we're going to do 2 giveaways this week. So on Friday's episode, we're going to give away a Glue Guy hoodie, okay? For all new subscribers that sub today from now to Friday, tag us on Twitter that you sub, you're automatically entered. Let's do a Glue Guy. And you know what? Let's also do a Knicks Morning Brew. What do you want to do, mug or travel mug? Which one?
Hold on. What was the first thing you said? Glue Guy?
We're doing the Glue Guy hoodie.
Let's do the Glue Guy hoodie for Josh Hart. Yeah, and let's do a travel mug.
And a travel mug.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody, if you're already a subscriber, go on social, on Twitter, on X, whatever we call it now. Just retweet this episode if you're already a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber and it's your first time.
I'm putting it in there.
Hold on.
Don't just screenshot this episode because they could screenshot this episode from X. So screenshot that it says subscribed on YouTube. Show that you subscribe to us. Tweet it. Tweet a screenshot that you subscribe to Morning Brew Sports, and so you tweet it to us, and that'll get you entered into it.
Listen, people, we'll earn your subbies, okay? Nick Yak is in the building. McBride had a much better game than the stats showed. He took a half-court three-point shot with 1 second left on 24 and 28-foot end of game 3. Another 3 getting fouled, but ref didn't call it. Hey, Nick Yak, no one today said anything bad about McBride. We all agreed, okay?
I still said he can't shoot, Jigga.
I mean, you know, outside of Eddie.
He can't shoot.
He still can't shoot.
Ebony crazy.
I think Bogey putting pressure on himself. I think him wanting to do well, maybe playing in front of friends and fam, he's in his head. And Burks is just coasting, frustrated.
I thought Bogey was trying to outshine his brother last night. Because
right?
his brother outshined him last night.
Hold on, I'm gonna take myself off here a second. We got
Oh!
Hey!
That's the only thing I need.
Look at him. He's getting the whole
He's chilling at the Yankee spring training. We'll be meeting him there in about an hour.
Yes, Eddie, I would curse and tell you I miss you, you motherfucker, but I don't want people to look at me.
All right, bro. We'll see you in a little bit.
Huh?
We'll see you in a little bit.
Copy.
Look at him all rosy red from that Florida sun.
He could have gone.
Yeah, he just wanted to come in and curse at you, Eddie. That's all that was. Like, he said, let me call Eddie.
I welcome all types of cursing. It's all good.
Also, since we're talking about the announcements, Hector wants to give out a free Glue Guy hoodie. And since today is Josh Hart's birthday,
Okay.
we might as well announce it. So the game Friday, what we are doing is
Just pay attention to social.
Yeah, pay attention to social, because if Josh Hart hits a double-double, everyone who retweets our glue guy design that day will be entered into a contest to win that hoodie if Josh Hart gets a double-double on Friday. So keep watching, pay attention to Brew Crew Sports on Twitter to be able to enter for that as well.
If you want the hoodie, retweet, all right? That's it.
I'm going to pull up one more graphic before we wrap off. But, you know, I saw Nicky's tweet yesterday. Tough night for the Knicks. Got back into it, but can never get over the hump. New York missed so many open looks. Now lost 8 of their last 11. This starts a crucial homestand. Need Brunson back. Point blank. So we're back at the point where, do we think OG's coming back before Julius?
Oh,
Or is Julius coming back? You think Julius, right?
Julius
Coming first?
That's what I mean, according to a couple of the things I read, it's Julius who's going to come back first, then OG.
I mean, it was what, 3-4 weeks ago where they were saying, even Tibs said he thought Julius would be back before OG and them. So to me, hey, here we are 3-4 weeks removed from that, and that timeline seems to be matching. So if we are, do we think what, we're a week hopefully away? By next week, we see a Julius return?
Look at, man, I'm looking at that game versus Portland, March 14th. That's the one I'm looking at.
March 14th.
Yeah, March 14th.
We should do an over-under. Hey, people in the chat, we got 360 of you in there. Over-under. Do we get Julius back before March 15th or after March 15th? I'd love to know people's thoughts on that.
So here's the thing is I've been nonstop trying to keep in touch with, you know, the injury reports on CBS and everything like that. It's weird because both players get moved every time to the same date, Julius Randle and OG. So the recent one for both of them says expected to be out until at least March 12th. So another 6 days at least. So neither are saying anything about a promising date, but they're both saying at least until the 12th. I guess, you know, closer to that, we could see what's been said.
And Nick Yak just took what I was about to say, but he put in there, if Randle misses Friday, he can't be an all-NBA.
Yep.
That's why I was saying we might see him back Friday. You know, even if they're just taking him off the injury report, he's on there. He just has to be listed as available, right? He has to clock 1 minute for it to count for him to be looked at for the all-NBA. He has to clock, 1 minute?
Let's hope he misses it. Because then with the max extension, that'll help us.
Oh, there's Eddie there. There's the cap whiz. The cap whiz comes out. He's like, money. But he, as Savage said it, the Orlando game. So we're tied, right, with Orlando? So this next game is...
Orlando's ahead of us.
They're ahead of us now.
I thought record-wise we're the same, aren't we?
No, I think they're ahead of us in the standings because of the tiebreaker. Because
the standings record is the same, but they got the tiebreaker. Yeah, we need to beat them, and then we need a Cavs loss. That'll jump us back up. Oh, man, Friday's going to be interesting. Hey, you negative Nancy. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up the show, this Friday, we will be doing the Knicks Morning Brew, and we will be going full-blown open panel. We talked about last night. We want to rock with everybody, so we're going to drop the link literally right off the gate. Whoever wants to come up, hang out, talk. We got a lot of things. We'll prepare for that Magic game. Again, appreciate everybody that rocks with us. This last hour and a half, over 360 of you in the building. Appreciate you. I know we sound like a broken record. Smash the like, hit the sub. You got to do it. It's the only way this shit works. All right? They force us to do it. Smash the like, hit the subby. Phil, Heck. He's not here. Eddie, last words before we go, bro.
Win some fucking games.
All right.
Phil? My last words is shout out to, PJ. I just looked as soon as I opened Twitter. I'm already seeing people tagging us that, they are trying to enter to win that glue guy shirt. So shout out to everybody that's already proving that they've subscribed.
Not only that, Phil, I won't pull people's names out, but shout out to the 4 people during this episode that went out to the merch store, bought some shirts. We had some orders come in. Appreciate you guys. Again, guys, it's not a moneymaker for us. It's just about all of us being able to rock some dope merch. Appreciate everybody. And on that note, wait. Oh, we almost ended without a J Boogie signing. J Boogie is in the building, the closer. Appreciate everybody rocking with us. And we will see everybody Friday if you're a Knicks fan. But we got content all week. You know that. Lock in with us. We got Yanks, we got Rangers, we got Jets, we got everything coming to you. And on that note, deuces!